great pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, Thelma Schoeneman. I first saw Thelma at the Garden Club Federation annual meeting a year ago in the fall, and she's just wonderful. She's a nationally accredited flower show judge with master status. She's the present chair of the Massachusetts Judges Council, chairman of the New England Regional Symposium, director of floral concerns in the Acton Garden Club, where she presently teaches many floral design classes and leads workshops. In 2008, received a GCFM Service Award, has exhibited at the Museum of Fine Arts, Art in Bloom, Worcester Art Museum, Flora in Winter. She retired in January 2007 from 20 years of owning her own flower shop, The Colony Florist in Concord, Mass. And most recently, she got a blue ribbon at Tower Hill in the still life category. So it's my great pleasure to introduce Thelma Schoeneman. Here you are.
All right. Is that good? Can you hear me? This is the hardest part of the whole thing, so okay. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming. Thanks for inviting me. We're going to have a lot of fun today. You know, isn't this the greatest season? You go out in your yard, you can pick all kinds of things, and you can make them look beautiful. And all of the things that I'm going to show you today, you can go home and try, because it's fun. And I did a program yesterday, and they were I called it my organic program, because they wanted me to use things from my refrigerator in my backyard, and you know, things that weren't preserved and all that. But I cheat, I buy things, but if you're young and foolish, you can go out and find them, and you can do it yourself. And I'll show you how to do that. But since I'm not young and foolish anymore, I'm just old and foolish. So I don't do all that. So when I had the flower shop, it was a challenge to get decorated for the holidays, because you know that right after Thanksgiving and that first week of December, everybody wants instant holiday. And so I just couldn't get my act together to get it done. But the first thing I did was to put something on my front door, because then people think you're organized, right? You think you're ready for the season. So what we used to do at the shop is we had a lot of busy customers too, and we would do things that maybe you could put up a little early and they would look okay, and then they'd still look okay till you wanted to put up your blit, you know, your bling, or whatever you were doing closer to the holidays. I'm going to try not to fall off the stage, but so I'm starting with. I tried to be organized because this is such a nice space, except that I could fall off the stage there. But I started my door piece with the cage, and I didn't look behind that beautiful swag over there, but perhaps you start with a cage over there. And maybe you use a bigger one. I use a bigger one on my door too, because I've determined not to put up wreaths anymore, because after years of supporting my son as a Boy Scout and having him win the wreath sale, I don't want to have a wreath on my door anymore. So I do something different. This one is something that I could put up now, and so I start out with the cage, and then I use, this happens to be kiwi vine. My friend has a bramble of kiwi vine, and I tell everyone it's my responsibility to help her keep it under control. So I love using it. It's so pliable, and it has little knobs on it. It's wonderful. So I just bent it around and put it in through the cage, and then use some straight sticks to come down. But you could buy or use grapevine if you have it around here. Just take a grapevine wreath apart, use the round part, and good luck finding a straight piece in there. But you could use another kind of sticks. Then I love using these sponge mushrooms. So you could walk out in the woods and you could find the fungi that grows on the trees, and then you could get out your drill, you could drill a hole, you could put wire on it, and you could use these. However, you probably would prefer to buy dried sponge mushrooms. These happen to be an orangey color because we're sort of going to be using this right now on our doors for Thanksgiving. And I'm going to put this over here. So I have an open space here. Going to fill it with a solid on the other side. I love these. They're so ugly, they're beautiful. You know, they have different little nooks and crannies. And I usually always spray it with something, either a clear spray or a color like gold. You'll notice that I love spraying things gold. Because it actually protects the sponge mushroom from getting spongy. So this one I have given it a shot of glossy wood toner. It's my favorite nondescript color. And then these came with this orangey shade. So I'm going to use the sponge mushrooms, and then I've never done this before sideways, so you have to. I'm going to use some apples. These happen to be galas, I think. You know, you have to be fussy about what color apples you buy. So this is kind of red, but kind of orange and yellow if you really want to look at it that way. I like the shape of them too. They're kind of elongated. So, and I've used the skewers. You have to have skewers in your kit, in your flower arranging kit. And you put 2 skewers on each fruit or vegetable so that they don't go swirling around on you. I always give the example of when, I'm going to have to come out here and look. My driver would be delivering, if I didn't have 2 on, you know, it would be going around like this, and then heaven forbid if he had to fix the arrangement. I've seen some that he fixed, and I could see why they returned them. But nevertheless, bless his heart, he was great. Okay, so there, we've got some apples going on here. I'm going to also use just a little bit of fresh plant material. These are leucadendron. You've probably seen them burgundy color mostly, but look at the centers in this. Same color, you know, kind of fall looking, and you won't be sad when they start drying up because they still look good as a dried plant material. In fact, with your spray can of gold, you can make them look like flowers afterwards. So I'm going to put those in. I think they kind of look like pine cones. So I use them a lot in the Christmas, even though they're tropical plant material. We can mix and match. Pretend we're in Hawaii for a little bit. There, we'll put that in there. I hope this looks pretty good from the front. Just come around here. I've kind of grouped them together. I also have lotus pods in there, but I like all the textures. You have the shiny and the dull and the rough and the smooth. I started, if you were entering a flower show, and thank goodness we aren't doing that today, this would be a hanging design. And if you enter, like Topsfield often will have hanging designs, and they have fake doors. You have a prop over there that's wonderful for displaying the hanging designs. I'm just going to tuck in a little bit of the fall leaves. But you know what? After Thanksgiving, take them out, and you won't miss them. But at least it gives you some, one more little sponge mushroom down here. And what I've used as a green here is my Cameo-cypris. It lasts forever. And it actually, when it dries up, it looks pretty good too. So hopefully this lasts for a long time. I think I've covered all the bases there. So this would be your front door. Now, I always like to have something next to my front door as well because, you know, it kind of makes it cozy, and hopefully the UPS guy appreciates those things. I bought this beautiful mum, you know, those door mums, door pots, whatever they call them. And within about 3 days, it was only half there. The chipmunk ate all the blossoms off, the one half. And I caught him doing that, but I couldn't deter him. Then I was afraid to turn the good side around because I figured that would be gone. Eventually the whole thing was gone. So I thought this would be a nice piece to put next to the door. Started out with birch twigs. You can find those along the road, gray birch. A long time ago we made a swan out of gray birch. You know, you bend it and do all kinds of things. And I started with a regular basket. I sprayed it with the glossy wood toner. My can's getting empty. But this is such a nice color, a nice spray. If you have like even a branch of Harry Lauder or something like that, and you want it to look a little more rich, you know, just give it a spray with this. It doesn't change it much, it just enhances it.
What's the name of it?
Glossy wood toner. And you can buy it at Michael's or, yeah. Finding things in your yard. This is Leucothoe, Fontansiana. Still looks good. I know it won't look good in the spring after the winter kills, so I cut it off now and use it. I've used some PJM for the color. It doesn't last well outside. It will, when it gets cold, it gets shivery, so it will shrivel up. And then, of course, pine cones. And then birch is definitely in this season. So you probably have birch logs. Maybe you have them in your fireplace. If you're tired of them, get your husband or friend or whatever to saw them up. Drill a hole in them, put a stick, and you can use them in all kinds of things. I've seen them now where they're real skinny. These are about an inch and an inch and a half thick, and they have a hole in the bottom so that they will stand up. So here's another. They're heavy, so you don't put them too high. So we're going to put another birch slab here. And what I would like to do is to make this fall, but you can see how if you start like this, I know Sue Baus has some beautiful holly. You can put some holly in it, you know, all kinds of greens from your yard. But I'm going to use some treated oak leaves. If I can find my scissors here, will be good. I thought this was a gorgeous color. So we're going to start with those. Fill in. You can treat leaves yourself if you're so inclined. I tried it years ago. You buy the glycerin, you know, glycerin's expensive, and you know, you wait a long time and then I don't think they look very good. So buying them is better, in my estimation. I love this rich red color because it can be for the holidays, but it can also be for fall. And then I couldn't resist. I do go to the market because my garden isn't as full as I would like it to be. And they had these beautiful ilex berries from Holland. But I love the color. So I think we need to put those in. At least we'll feed the birds for a while. Tower Hill has some beautiful ilex in the colors. I love the orangey one that's by the steps. But I think against the leaves, this looks pretty smashing. So we're going to put that out here. And then we're going to add some fresh plant material, which I don't know, you have to watch the temperature. But I like these mums because they're picking up all the colors. They have kind of rust and yellow together. So we're going to put those in among the leaves and the berries. And the leaves, you know, this is a piece that you can easily change over, like I said, for closer to the holidays. And if you get tired of the branches being natural, you get out your spray can of 24 karat gold this time. And you have something that looks like this. So you could turn that into a gold, just spray your pine cones gold. When I was spraying everything gold, these were the leaves that were laying on the ground. So I think I have plenty of these, and they should last for the season. So you just have to have a can of spray paint handy at all times. And it's kind of like a preservative. We used to, at the flower shop, people would just want a simple swag of like Italian ruscus. You spray it gold, you can have it for the entire season. And just put it over your door, over your mirror, wherever you happen to need a little bit of gold. So now I'm going to put in some yarrow. Yarrow should dry up for you. This could be sprayed gold too. So, I like the different textures together. And finally, after we've gotten our flowers in, turn this around. You know, they tell me for Ikebana, if you want to be a teacher in Ikebana, you have to design from the back. So now I know that I will never be a teacher for Ikebana because I'm not very good at designing from the back. So, got some yarrow here. I'm going to touch in just a little bit of orange with just some lanterns that maybe you have in your garden. I used to have them, I wanted to get rid of them, and then you get rid of them and then you can't grow them anymore. But I like the touch of orange with the red, so we're going to put those in. And then we'll add a big splash of orange with a pumpkin. And you know, we've even been known to spray pumpkins gold. You know, it's pretty classy to have a gold pumpkin with a black stem. And then you put a glitzy bow on it. I tried doing this without poking a hole in it, and it wasn't very successful. So, and this one had a nice top. So we want to look at that. I'm going to add another little leaf there I was trying to leave the correct amount of space for my pumpkin. Oh yeah. So, this would be your piece. I'm just going to fill in the back. You always should finish the back, you know, for the chipmunks, for the